Within the past year, Apple has expanded their iPad lineup to a staggering 4 different models. If you don't know what each of these does differently and which one you are looking for, it can be difficult to pick out which iPad fits your needs. I have every single iPad that's currently available right now in front of me, so in this video, I'm going to go through the differences of each and every one, and we're going to figure out which one is best for you. So we have 4 different iPads right here. We have the iPad mini, the iPad Air, and the iPad Pro. Let's go ahead and start off talking about the iPad. This is the 7th generation, and it is just called the iPad. This one starts at $329, and you can think of this as the budget iPad. It's like the iPhone SE or the iPhone XR, a budget version that's cheaper and less good as the better ones here. So what this has is a 10.2 inch screen, and as of right now in January 2020, the 7th generation iPad has an A10 processor. That's the same processor as an iPhone 7. So older and slower, but still very usable and responsive. It comes standard with 32 gigabytes of storage for your $329 price with Wi-Fi only, but you can add more storage to that if you need it. And you can also get cellular options as with all of these. When it comes to differences between all these iPads, the main difference with this one is the processor. We have our A10 and also our screen. On top we have our glass, which is the digitizer, and then below that we have our LCD. Those two are separate pieces, meaning if you take this iPad apart, you will have your glass separate from the screen. On every one of these other iPads, that's laminated. We'll talk about that in a minute. Meaning that there's a visible air gap between the surface you're touching and what is showing you on screen what you're actually doing. So it's not as great of an experience. It doesn't look as good, but because it's not laminated, it is cheaper to manufacture, which is why the price is so low. We also lose out on a couple other things. We have first generation Touch ID on here, which is going to be a little bit slower. Cameras are also not as good. This does support Apple Pencil, and it does have a smart connector, so you can use the first generation Apple Pencil and Apple's own smart keyboard. Now let's move on to the iPad Air. This starts at $499, comes with 64 gigabytes of space. This has a 10.5 inch screen compared to 10.2. This has a laminated display, so the digitizer and screen are one piece, meaning there's no air gap, and it looks a lot nicer. Because that has a wider P3 color gamut, which is more color accurate, it has better cameras on the front and the back, 2nd generation Touch ID, which is going to be faster, and it has an A12 processor. This is the top of the line nearly of processors. It is one of the most modern ones available currently, and it is very fast and performs super well. Now moving on to the iPad mini 5. You can think of this as the iPad Air 3, but smaller. It has exactly the same specs. The only difference is the price starts at $399 compared to $499, and it has a 7.9 inch screen compared to 10.5 inch. The real benefit of this is that it's smaller. It's exactly the same as the Air, just a smaller package. So you can one-hand this. It's great for reading and that sort of thing. So you can save $100 and get a smaller screen, but the performance of these two is going to be the same. Now moving on to the iPad Pro. This comes in 2 different sizes, 11 inches and 12.9 inches. It starts at $799 for the 11 inch model and $999 for the 12.9 inch model. I have the 12.9 inch iPad Pro right here, and unlike other Pro name products, I believe this is truly an accurate name for this iPad. This is the best of what you can get from Apple, from any iPad and even any iDevice. This has an A12X chip, so X is better than A12. So it's the same performance as these, but it's going to have a lot better graphics performance. This also is the only iPad that supports the 2nd generation Apple Pencil, meaning that you can connect it to the top and it wirelessly charges to the top of the iPad. The other ones have to plug in physically. This also has a smart connector on the back for the keyboard, unlike on the side with these two iPads. This one also doesn't have a smart connector though, so keep that in mind. You cannot use a keyboard with this iPad. Comes standard with 64 gigabytes of storage. One of the biggest things on here is the ProMotion display. Has a 120 Hz refresh rate, so it looks very smooth and buttery and responsive. It is an amazing display. This has an all new design. All these have a curved design. This one's very boxy. It's the only iPad and even iDevice that has a USB-C port, and it is very bezel-less, as you can see. This is the only iPad that has Face ID rather than Touch ID on these iPads. So just to recap, we have our iPad 7th generation right here, which is the slower and worse screen, but is very good performance at that, and is great for basic use. We have our iPad Air 3rd generation, which is just a bigger and better and faster version of this if you are more of a power user and you like something that's higher quality. We got the iPad Mini 5, which is the same as the Air, but just in a smaller package. And then we have the iPad Pro for those that really want to take advantage of this Apple Pencil, are looking for the best performance possible, and that ProMotion 120 Hz refresh rate display. So there you go. That is all for this video. I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions at all, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, leave a like and hit that subscribe button for more videos like this. This is Mark That Tech, and I will see you in the next one.